Hello everyone. The topic for today is compound probability. Right now I want you to pause the video so you can copy down your notes and then resume when you're ready. Compound probability is when more than one event occurs at the same time. So here we have a spinner with 4 sections and a coin. So we need to find the probability that the spinner lands on Nike and that the coin lands on heads. So the key mathematical operation that we always need to remember with probability is multiplication. So on the spinner, there are 4 equal sections. So the probability of Nike is 1/4. That's for Nike. And the probability for heads is 1/2. To find the probability of both of those things happening, we need to take those 2 fractions and multiply them together. So 1/4 times 1/2 is 1/8. Therefore, the probability of having the spinner land on Nike and the coin land on heads is 1/8. Looking at another example, probability for the spinner landing on Converse is 1/4. Probability of it landing on the coin landing on heads or tails is 1, because it can only land on heads or tails. So the probability, again, we would have to multiply together. 1/4 times 1 is just 1/4, because anything times 1 is just itself. So the probability of it landing on Converse and then heads or tails is 1/4. Now let's look at a number cube or dice. Well, we're rolling it twice. So on one number cube by itself, there are 6 possible outcomes. On the second roll, obviously, there are another 6 possible outcomes. And remember, the key mathematical operation is multiplication. 6 times 6 equals 36. So there are 36 possible outcomes when you roll a number cube twice. This would be the same thing if you had 2 number cubes and rolled them at the same time. So the probability of rolling a 10. Well, let's look at the different combinations that we can get to roll a 10. We could get a 4 on the first one, a 6 on the second one. We could get a 6 on the first one, a 4 on the second one, meaning the first roll and the second roll. We could also get a 5 on the first roll and a 5 on the second roll. These are the 3 different ways that you can roll a 10, meaning when you add those rolls together, the values together, whenever you roll a number cube twice. So 3 out of 36, well, that simplifies to 1/12. So the probability of us rolling a 10 is 1/12. Next, we're looking at the probability of us rolling a 2. Well, there's only one way to roll a 2, and that's if you get a 1 on the first roll and a 1 on the second roll. So the probability is 1 out of 36. The probability of us rolling an 11. Well, on the first roll, we could get a 6. Second roll, we could get a 5. On the first roll, we could get a 5. Second roll, we could get a 6. There are 2 different ways to do that. So we could get 2 out of 36, which simplifies to 1 out of 18. Lastly, we have the probability of us rolling an odd number. So we can look at this a few different ways, but I'm going to look at it as simply as I can. The odd numbers that you could possibly roll on when you combine the 2 rolls are 3, 5. Let's fix that. 5, 7, 9, and 11. It's not possible to roll a 1 when you're rolling the number cube twice. And there are 2 ways to roll a 3. There are 4 ways to roll a 5. There are 6 ways to roll a 7, 4 ways to roll a 9, and 2 ways to roll an 11. So all of those different ways add up to 18 different ways to roll an odd number. 18 out of 36 simplifies to 1/2. Therefore, the probability of us rolling an odd number is 1/2. Next, we need to talk about compound probability when the item is replaced versus not replaced. So we're going to start off by talking about when the item is replaced. So here we have a bag full of marbles, and I've labeled them because the colors are a little hard to tell here on the screen. So we've got 2 yellow, we've got 3 blue, and we've got 4 red. So we have a total of 9 marbles in this bag. Well, if we wanted to find the probability of choosing a yellow one and then a red one while we're replacing it, well, we find the probability of a yellow, which is 2 out of 9, and we multiply that by the probability of the red, which is 4 out of 9. Since we're replacing the marble after we pull it out of the bag, that means that nothing has changed about how many of each color are in the bag, which means that the total amount of marbles that are in the bag hasn't changed. So we're just multiplying those 2 fractions together. We wind up with 8 over 81. Probability of us choosing a blue than a yellow. So just to clarify, we're picking one marble at random out of the bag, putting it back, and then we're picking another marble out of the bag at random. That's the replacing. So choosing a blue would be 3 out of 9. Choosing a yellow would be 2 out of 9. We could simplify the 3/9. We don't have to immediately, but we could to start off. We wind up with 6 over 81. That can be simplified if you divide both of those by 3. To 2 over 27. So the probability of us choosing a blue one than a yellow is 2 over 27.